Good morning, good morning. It is Wednesday. How is everyone doing today? This is Reganelite here. Hello everyone. How are you all doing this morning? It's a lovely 8 a.m. in the morning, nice and early for some of you guys. Some of you guys might be on your way to work. Some of you guys may be just listening in. Some of you guys may literally have just woken up out of bed. Welcome to Good Morning with Reganelite here. The date and time is the 28th of May, 2025, 8 a.m. UK time. Live on youtube.com/Reganelite and on twitch.tv/Reganelite1. Good morning, Jane Wallace from France. Hope you are doing well. And anybody else who may be lurking in the chats. In either chats today. If you're here on YouTube, like, share, subscribe, the usual stuff. If you're on Twitch, hit that follow button and make sure you turn that bell notification icon so you'll be notified of when I go live. We're going to be looking at, in particular, what the media is saying about news from outside the UK. So we'll be looking at Al Jazeera, Associated Press, the BBC, but world news specifically, CNN and a couple of others there. So we'll have a look at see some of the world news is saying today, and then tomorrow we'll go back and see what the media is saying about UK news. Then I'll also point out that we'll be doing a live stream tonight at 8 p.m. UK time called the Snowflake Watch. We'll be watching reactions to certain clips and videos online, and I'll be giving my reactions and thoughts to them. Good morning, Mad Monk 33. Hope you are doing well. Right, so today's weather report here in London. It is currently 15 degrees. It is cloudy, and it's expected to be pretty much cloudy all day. No, there is a little bit of breakout of sunshine this morning, but it looks like it's going to be completely covered up by cloud as the day goes on. Noticeably, though, the temperature rises as the day passes on. Apparently, it's supposed to reach as high as 20 degrees where I am, apparently. So that's quite interesting. So, and looking at the weather reports here, so it looks like it's forecast as we head a bit closer towards the weekend that it will reach, tomorrow is supposed to reach as high as 23, Friday and Saturday 24 degrees. That's despite being cloudy. So temperatures are expecting to rise the next couple of days. So here in London, and obviously temperatures vary wherever you are, but that's actually pretty good for the weekend. So no forecasting of rain today. We did have rain yesterday, quite a fair bit of rain, but it's not forecasting rain. But I wouldn't also completely rule it out as well here. So what is today's quote of the day, guys? Remember, if you want to know what the quote of the day is when I'm not doing a Good Morning show, follow me on my social medias, or you can just simply join the Discord community and you can check out the daily quote on the front page tab there. But here it is here, just to show that I don't make them up as I go along. And this one for the 28th of May is by Spencer W. Kimball, and it goes as: use things, not people. Love people, not things. I like that one. Use things, not people. And love people, not things. I like that one. That's a very nice one. That's a very, very nice one. I like that one. And tomorrow's one, of course, is... You'll have to wait till tomorrow to find out that one, guys. Or you could check out my social medias when I post it tomorrow morning. Yes, you'll have to do one of those two, guys. Sorry, that's just the way the cookie crumbles, I'm afraid. We can't always have what we want. A good evening, Steve McMahon, my friend, all the way over in New Zealand. It is Wednesday evening time over there. I hope you're having a wonderful Wednesday, my friend. Good to see you lurking in the chat. So before we go into the news, like I said, I was going to talk about my trip in Wales. As you guys noticed yesterday, I talked a little bit about one of the National Trust parks that I went to, Dunfield Park, yesterday, which is a lovely park. And I said about how we saw some wild deer, which was pretty awesome as well. So let me talk a little bit about the next place we went to. And it was pretty much, I don't think we really went to many other places. It's pretty much the main place we went to yesterday. And that is a place called Brecon Beacons. Brecon Beacons is in Wales, and it has elevation. The elevation point is called Penya Fan. There's a trail from it on the National Trust that takes you up as high elevation as 886 meters above level. So it can get quite high up there. Its location is in Powys, Wales, United Kingdom. And I will show you some pictures of the peak there. So I'll tell you about it. So basically, it's how long did it take us to walk up that peak? I would say about 2 hours, 2.5 hours. I think it was something like that walk. Bear in mind we had lots of drinks in our backpacks and lots of snacks as well as our backpacks as well. We took stop and breaks quite a few times on our trip up there. It was definitely quite steep. Luckily, all four of us that went are pretty well rounded, pretty fit. I took tons and tons of photos and videos. Unfortunately, I don't have them available, but don't worry, I'll show you some photos from Google Images from what Brecon Beacons looks like here. But it was a perfect day. No rain. I think there was barely any clouds. I did get sunburnt on the back of my neck, which does not surprise me at all, because that is something that I always end up getting burnt somewhere, you know. I always get burnt somewhere, guys. No matter where I go, I'm like, even when it's really hot, it's like, okay, I'm gonna sun spray everywhere. But nope, I always get caught out somewhere. Somewhere I just get caught out. It just happens to me, doesn't it? Good morning, As the Kid. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you are doing well. Mad Monk, thank you so much for the £2 super chat. My quote for today: just one pint before my bed. If you want a pint before your bed, it's your life, my friend. Just one more. Just one more. And then one more. So let me tell you a little bit about Brecon Beacons before I show you guys. So, I can't say the Welsh name, but I'm going to try and pronounce it. So the Brecon Beacons, its Welsh name is Bannerw Brancasing, if I mispronounce. They're on a mountain range in Wales. The range includes South Wales' highest mountain, Penya Fan, that's 886 metres, that's 2,907 feet. Its twin summit, Corndu, 873 metres, is 2,864 feet. And Craig Gowan Tough, 826 metres, which is 2,710 feet, which are the three highest peaks in the range. The Brecon Beacons has given their name to the largest Brecon Beacons National Park, and it ranges itself is therefore sometimes known as the Central Beacons to differentiate the two. The name Bannerw Bregovich is first attested in the 16th century, and Brecon Beacons first occurred in the 18th century as Brancock Beacons. Branacovs derives from the Welsh Bannerw Peaks, and Branacov, the name of the early medieval kingdom which covered the area. The English name is derived from the Welsh one. In the 11th century town of Brecon is recorded as Brenchnock, which became Brecknock and Brecon. In a paragraph on Breconshire, John Lennon, literally 1536 to 1539, literally notes that Blancmontois is most famous for its stonnage. As I have learnt, this route is one side with it's got 4 eyes there, or miles of mammoth, and on the other side is near to Cameron. This is to be one all monolith, yet many parties of him have studied names. I'm botching a lot of these names. I'm botching that quote very, very badly. Let me go to scroll down to the national park. The Brecon Beacons National Park was established in 1957, the third of the 3 Welsh parks after Snowdonia in 1951, which I did go to, and I'll talk about that later on. And the Pembrokeshire Coast National Park in 1952. It covers an area of 509 square miles, that's 1,340 kilometres, which is much larger than the Brecon Beacons range. Over half the parks in the south of Powys. The remainder of the park is split between northwestern Monmouthshire and eastern Cameronsshire and northern Ronaldol, Sion Taff and Medivh Tarval. Very small areas, Blankengerrick and Toffel. A railway with a narrow gauge train is run by Brecken's Mountain Railway. The railway is 1 foot 11 and 3/4 in 603 metres. A narrow gauge tourist railway on the south side of the Brecon Beacon Range. It climbs northwards from Paint along the full strength of the Palsiel Reservoir, also called Talfashes Reservoir by Welsh waters. There's no actual, unlike Snowdonia, there's no actual train to go up there. You literally, if you want to go to this peak, you've got to put your boots on the ground and walk. It continues past the Panuel Reservoir to Torpay Railway Station. The railway starting point at Paint is located 2 miles north of Medieval town centre. So let me just show you a little bit. Let me see if oh, I haven't set up the full screen. So this is it from the Wikipedia. Brecon Beacons here. There's a picture there. There it is on the geography range. And if we go here to Google, so you can see some of the pictures here of what Brecon Beacons looks like from here. This definitely picture here from the Guardian one there, that's definitely a viewpoint I saw from up there. This little waterfall here, I don't know where that's from because I don't recognize that image. I definitely recognize where the hiker is there because I definitely walked that up there as well. But these are some of the spots that you can get when you go all the way up there as well, which is absolutely wonderful pictures there. It depends on the trail. Let me see. Penyafan. Let's try Penyafan because that is the peak that we walked. Yes, yeah. So this here, this is the this one here. If it will pop up. I wish. Hold on one second. Why do I have such a terrible? Can I? Hold on one second, chat. I'm going to see if I can expand my screen a little bit more because I don't like that my screen is cut off for you guys. Give me 1 second. I will come to that super chat in a moment, Mad Monk. Bear with me. It's very annoying that I can't always show everything because I'm limited. Right, that's a bit better. At least you can see everything there. Yeah, so yeah, this is so there you can see there's 2 trails there because there was a point when you reach a peak point, and then if you want to go to the top of Penlefan, you could take 2 paths. You can take a lower path, which is on the lower side of another mountainside, another hilltop mountainside, or you can go up a little bit of a mountain, then come back down to go up onto Penlefan. So that's why there's 2 spots here. Me and my partner took the dart that went up the mountain, and then we took down this range where the people are walking. And my parents who was on holiday with us, they took the other route there. Let's see. This is at the top of the. You find this sign at the top of the peak as well of Penlefen. There we got photos of myself and the family, obviously, when we were at there as well. Yeah, I'll definitely remember that shot from Penlefen. It's absolutely wonderful. There it is. There, 886 meters. Yep. So really, and there's another shot there in the distance there. Another wonderful shot of it of Penlefen in the distance there. Really, really great stuff. If I don't recall, there's no like winter snow or whatever. But I imagine during the winter, I don't know if it's actually. I don't know if snow actually settles on it. I suppose it does if it's really, really cold up there. You know. If it's really, really cold, I suppose it does up there. We went hiking up Penlefen, and it was the most horrific thing I'd ever done. I don't disagree, but some people, it was very. The thing is, the steps actually, it's quite interesting. I was thinking about, like, after we came back down, I looked at my app for how many steps that I did, guys. And it's funny how I think we only ended up doing about. So on average, I'm supposed to I tried to do 10,000 steps a day. So I was expecting to hit at least 15, 20,000 steps by the time I get back down. Barely just hit 10,000. And the reason was it wasn't so much the steps, it was just the elevation. it was just the elevation of going up. Now, even when we got to the top, it wasn't even that windy as well. It wasn't even that windy. That was the other thing as well. I'm just seeing if there's any other good shots there. That's another great shot of it there as well. I better stop and go to all the super chats that was coming in here. All hail the DPR. Thank you so much for the £2 super chat. Alistair Keir, yes, all hail Democratic Penguins Republic. Thank you, and Mad Monk, for your super chats this morning. Much appreciated. Mad Monk says, I love night shifts. I don't have to deal with the public, just maintain public service. Exactly. That's one of the benefits of night shifts. You don't need to deal with people, and you can just work without the worry of that. It's a good benefit there. Stephen Mullen, thank you so much for the $2 New Zealand, my friend. Really appreciate your support as well. Thank you, guys. Very generous this morning. Really appreciate your support, guys. Yeah, so Brecon Beacons, it was absolutely wonderful. Yes, we were absolutely tired and we were shattered from it. There's no doubt about it. But I really, it was one of the many things that we did in Wales during the time we were out there. I really enjoyed it. If you like hiking, if you like mountain climbing, if you like nature, if your body can do it, I do recommend checking out Brecon Beacons. But if you're somebody that's not so strong with the legs, perhaps is not really much of a climber and whatnot, I can understand. Probably I would avoid this. It is quite a trek up. Still, it is quite a trek up, but when you get to the top there, it's pretty incredible. But there's people there who are, and we actually, because of the day we went on a Monday, which was the perfect day because literally the day before was the weekend. And they said it was jam-packed busy the day before. Because obviously on weekends, you'll have more visitors, obviously, because people are not working and whatnot. So going on a Monday was actually a very good timing as well. And it was kind of interesting as well. When we were coming back down, there was this massive group. I think it was like about one-ish or something like that. When there was a group of, there was literally, I kid you not, like I think about 20 school kids, or it's a school trip. And they were going up with obviously with teachers and whatnot. And I was just like, as I'm coming down, like, and I'm looking at all these kids and I'm thinking, there's no toilets up there. Have they had lunch? Like there were so many things crossing my mind because you always have to baggage when it comes to children. And I'm thinking of all these groups of school kids, and I'm thinking, like, what are you gonna do when they go up there? Because here's the thing, and the thing is, it's not like, this is the reality. Not only is there no public toilets when you get to the top or anything around there, there's no bushes either, so you can't actually go anywhere, even if you're a man. So what do you do when it comes to children that you end up taking them up there and they need to go? That's the question. Thank you so much, Alistair Keir, just to help hit the target, £2. Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate that, my friend. Jane Wallace says, I used to work continental shifts of 4 days on, 4 days off, 4 nights on, and 4 days off, of a 12-hour working in a clean room at IBM. Best paid job ever, but I had enough after 2 years. 12 hours is tough, yeah, as Steve says. Yeah, I remember just talking about work shifts before we get to the news. I used to, obviously, there were times where I used to work in Superdrug during my 15 years with their company. There are times where I worked night shifts where I would work from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., 12 hours straight. Not straight. I'd take breaks in between, obviously, where we would do merchandising, where we're basically moving everything around in the stores. Now, you imagine doing Monday to Friday, 12 hours. That's 12 hours. I don't know, some of you have done that. I mean, you said they're 4 days in, 4 nights in, 4 nights out. I'm talking 5 days. And then you're like absolutely shattered. And then there's also trying to switch your clock back as well. Yeah, it was, I got good money out of it when I was younger and used to do it. But man, oh man, it's a lot of time taken away from you. Now, I had the options in the past of going back and doing night shifts on certain things, but I rejected it. And the reason why I rejected night shifts is because I don't want the time that I have with my missus taken away from me. Is the main reason. That's kind of why I would be a bit hesitant to take night shifts again. I say hesitant. It depends, like, because I'm not ruling out the possibility of one day going back into work, guys. Because obviously, I don't make enough money doing this. I'm very fortunate in the situation that I'm in financially, but I'm certainly not ruling out going back to proper work in the future as well. Stephen Moore and Mad Monk, thank you so much for the £2 super chat, my friend. I really appreciate your support. And Stephen Moore there with the $5 New Zealand there, helping us reach this morning's goal. Pingu would like to say thank you guys so much for your supporting for the Democratic Penguins Republic. It is greatly appreciated. Thank you guys so much. Pingu is very much appreciated supporting our great fellow Penguins and supporting the channel. I really do appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Right, let's have a read and see what's happening in some of the news, guys. Yeah, I'm not going to open up. So the first story, there's quite a lot of stories, obviously. Unfortunately, a lot of them are really much around Trump and the Trump and America, unfortunately, when it comes to world news. But there's also obviously we spoke about this yesterday on Snowflake Corner. If you didn't miss it, do check it out. I have timestamped the live stream from last night's Snowflake Corner. If you guys haven't checked it out as well, feel free to do so as well. So the latest headline from Al Jazeera is that the UN aid group slams the US-Israel-backed initiative after deadly rush in Gaza. The UN says the scenes at the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation aid site are heartbreaking as Israel and US defended the initiative. So at least 3 Palestinians have been killed in Gaza after the Israeli military opened fire on crowds of people who rushed to an aid distribution point set up by a controversial organization backed by Israel and the United States. A deadly incident in the southern city of Rafah on Tuesday left 46 others wounded and 7 missing, according to authorities in Gaza. So basically, and I said this yesterday, I hate to say this, I'm not surprised that there are casualties because of this. And the reason why I say I'm not surprised there are casualties, guys, is because these people, when they literally have no food and they've got nothing and they want to feed their children, their wives and whatnot, they're prepared to sacrifice their lives because they literally have nothing else to lose. When you have absolutely nothing, yeah, you've got nothing to lose, because that is the situation where many of these people are. They are prepared to take any risks. You know, people say, oh, it's dangerous going to them because of the crowds and whatnot. Well, who cares at this point? Like, we've got absolutely nothing. We have no jobs. Our home's been destroyed. Our lives have been destroyed. I've lost brothers and sisters, mothers and fathers. I've got absolutely nothing. You know, there's nothing but rubble all around me. What am I supposed to do? So to have learnt that people have died by this does not surprise me in any way, shape or form. And do not be surprised if more people lose their lives as a result as well. Even with the weapons, even with however Israel and the United States are doing this, it's folly. It should have been done by the United Nations. They should have been the ones operating this. They're the ones who should be looking after this. They have been doing this very properly and professionally, and they have been distributing it fairly. Also, some of the food distribution is not actually ideal. Some of the food that they've actually distributed is not very nutritious enough, from what I've heard, from what I've read, what I reread and discussed last night as well. It was just not enough food. Seen the videos and they just were so desperate for food. Yeah, you're absolutely right here, Aston Kier. They just want food. They just want food at the end of the day, and it is so heartbreaking, you know. So a spokesperson for the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres said the images and videos from the aid points set up by GFH were heartbreaking to say the least. We and our partners have a detailed, principled, operational sound plan supported by member states to get aid to the desperate population, Stephen Jurek had told reporters. Humanitarian aid needs to be distributed in a way that is safe, under principles of independence and impartiality, in a way that we've always done it. We saw the plan that they published and that they presented to us, and it is not done with the parameters that we feel match our principles, and we apply across the border from Gaza to Sudan to Myanmar, to anywhere you want to talk about. This is the thing. The UN always do it in the same. They always apply the same measures wherever it is, because they're impartial, they're neutral. But like I said last night, because of what happened on October the 7th, because there was found that some members of the UNRWA were were linked to helping Hamas on October the 7th. It gives carte blanche for Israel to say, we can't trust the UN, we can't trust the UNRWA, we can't trust these people to distribute aid evenly. They've got their argument point to make, whether you agree or disagree with it respectfully. The government media office in Gaza condemned the Israeli military actions in Rafah. The occupation forces positioned in and around those areas opened live fire on starving civilians who were lured to these locations under premise of receiving aid, the office said in a statement. What happened today in Rafah is a deliberate massacre and a fully fledged war crime committed in cold blood against civilians weakened by over 90 days of siege, including starvation. This incident provides undeniable evidence of the Israeli occupation's total failure in managing a humanitarian catastrophe and it's deliberately created. That was from Palestine. The Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu acknowledged the chaos at the GSS site, but said the disruption was brief. He quotes as saying, "We worked out a plan with our American friends to have controlled distribution sites where an American company would distribute the food to Palestinian families," he said. "There was some loss of control momentarily. Happily, we brought it back under control." He also claimed that there was no proof of malnutrition in the Gaza Strip, saying, you don't see one, not one emulated person from the beginning of the war to present. Well, I suggest the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu takes a trip to the Gaza Strip and sees it for himself there, if I'm absolutely honest. The United States, their position, they said the US State Department has also downplayed the rush to the GHS site and dismissed a criticism of the aid program as complaints about style. Hamas has been opposed to this aid dynamic. They have attempted to stop the aid movement from Gaza to these distribution centres, but they have failed, said Tammy Bruce, a spokesperson for the State Department. Quote, "In that kind of environment, it's not surprising that there might be a few issues involved. But the good news is that those are seeking to get aid to the people of Gaza, which is not Hamas, have succeeded." She added, "The real story is that aid and food is moving into Gaza in a massive scale. We're looking at 8,000 boxes. This is a complicated environment, and the story, in fact, is working." Yeah, I'm not buying into that, if I'm absolutely honest, guys. I'm just having a hard time believing them on that. That's just me. Let's have a look at one or two other stories before we go to the other newses. So, from the Associated Press, that the US stops scheduling visa interviews for foreign students while it expands social media vetting. So, it quotes as saying the State Department has halted the scheduling of new visa interviews for foreign students hoping to study in the United States while it prepares to expand the screening of their activities on social media, officials said. A US official said on Tuesday the suspension is intended to be temporary and does not apply to applicants who have already had scheduled in their visa interviews. The official spoke on conditional autonomy to discuss an internal administration document. A cabinet cable signed by Secretary of State Marco Rubio and obtained by the Associated Press said the State Department also plans to issue guidance on expanded social media vetting. Effective immediately in preparation for an expansion of required social media screening and vetting, consultant sections should not add any additional students or exchange visa appointments capacity until the guidance is issued, the cable said. It also says, asked about the suspension at the briefing on Tuesday, State Department spokesperson Tammy Bruce said the US uses every available resource to vet people applying for visas. Quote, "We will continue to use every tool that we can to assess who is coming here, whether they are students or authorized," Bruce said. So essentially, basically, this is the government basically saying, we need to check your social medias. If you said anything bad about Trump, we can definitely say if you said anything bad about Donald Trump in some way, shape, or form, we can know, oh, this person said something bad about Donald Trump. We're going to make sure this person doesn't get through. This is what it is. If they've said anything whatsoever that has been in any way towards political, anything against the Republican Party or against Trump or any of his associates, it's like, nope, this person is problematic. Say no. That's it. Because they are in charge and they can turn around and say no to anything. So you will be vetted for everything that you have basically said, and that's essentially what's going to happen there. I just got a message saying performance issue alert. No, I'm not getting a performance issue. 8,000 boxes for how many people? 1.2. Was it over 1.2 million Palestinians? Yeah, I know, it's absolutely disgusting. 1.2 million people. Is there anything more to add to it? Well, it's just absolutely disgusting that they're making it more difficult for people to come to America, and foreign students should go to Europe instead of America if that's how they're going to be treated. It'd be nice, yeah, if our universities were a bit more open to foreign students as well. I hope in a weird sort of way it increases foreign students coming in to the UK as well. So another story on America. The Trump administration has asked the Supreme Court to lift the limits on deportations to third countries. This is from NBC News, saying a federal judge has ruled that convicted criminals the administration wants to deport to countries that aren't the countries of origin should be given more time to raise concerns about the potential risk of torture, persecution, or death. The administration is seeking to block an injunction in which Massachusetts-based U.S. District Judge Brian Murphy said the affected immigrants nationwide should be given a meaningful opportunity to raise concerns that there might be a risk of torture, persecution, or death. Murphy later clarified that they should have at least 10 days to bring their claims. Just last week, he said the administration had violated his previous order by flying 8 migrants to South Sudan. The men are now being held in a U.S. facility in Djibouti. All the immigrants potentially affected by the litigation are already subject to deportation but cannot be sent to their countries of origin. So the case hinges on what legal process they receive before they can be deported. They are basically looking for, when it comes to immigration with America, they're looking at what legal loopholes can we do to get these people out of the country. Okay, we can't send them back to their own country. Okay, can we send them to El Salvador? Okay, there's too much publicity over this. Well, let's try and send them to South Sudan. Okay, there looks like there's going to be publicity there. How can we do this? How can we do this quietly and under the noses of the media? Because this is what they're trying to do. They're trying to keep things quiet. Good morning, Matt. Hope you are doing well there. They want to try and keep things as hush-hush as much as they possibly can on this. On Monday night, Murphy rejected a government attempt to reconsider his requirements as it relates to the men now in South Sudan. Quote, it turns out that having immigration processes on another continent is harder and more logistically cumbersome than dependents anticipate, he wrote. It continues to be this court's sincere hope that reason can get the better of rhetoric, he added. Yeah, the problem is once they're out of the country, it's very near to next impossible for them to kind of do anything about it. This is the thing that the Trump administration knows. Once they get them out of the country, it's kind of like the US court style. Their powers are very limited in what they can do. They're very, very limited in what they can do, unfortunately. Another terrible story here in America as well. I'm sure some of you guys who have been paying attention to what's happening in America as well. The Trump administration is seeking to pull an estimated $100 million from the Harvard funding. The Government Service Administration has plans to circulate a letter to agencies asking them to identify whether Harvard contracts could be cancelled or redirected elsewhere, senior White House official has said. The administration estimates about 30 contracts collectively worth $100 million could be reviewed and has already frozen £265 billion of £265 billion in federal grants and tried to revoke Harvard's ability to enroll international students. So at the moment, they haven't commented. This is from the BBC for reference. On its website, the university said its cutting-edge medical, scientific and technological research has historically been supported by the federal government and other entities, touting the institution's research on cancer, heart disease, infectious disease and obesity. The university website warned that without federal funding, this work will come to a halt midstream. The White House will not revoke the funds automatically, but rather kick off a review of money Harvard receives from federal government to determine whether that funding is critical in the eyes of the administration. GSA, which is the Government Service Administration, will recommend each agency terminate for each convenience each contract that it determines has failed to meet its standards and consider reallocating those funds elsewhere. A draft of the letter accuses Harvard of engaging in indiscrimination and anti-Semitism as justification for the move, which is bollocks. The administration's excuse is that these politics somehow address anti-Semitism and style absurd, says J.Q. Miller, a student and former head of Harvard Hilly, a Jewish social hub on campus. The Jewish social hub on campus. An administration official told the BBC that potential cuts would not affect hospitals affiliated with Harvard University. And if a federal grant was deemed critical to meet particular agents' functions, they said, what agency could make a case to preserve funding? Yeah, so this is all about them not having the free will, carte blanche to kind of. Harvard has obviously just been, because they're basically allowing students to be more freely be themselves, as opposed to other places where they're being a bit more toe in line with the Trump administration. This is what they're trying to clamp down on that stuff trying to clamp down on that stuff there. And this last one, another one before we go to all the rest of the media. Elon Musk says Trump's agenda bill undermines the Doge mission. So Elon Musk has raised concerns, this one from CNN, has raised concerns about Donald Trump's sweeping tax and spending cut packages, says in a video released on Tuesday, and that he believes it would raise the US budget deficit and undercut efforts by the Department of Government Efficiency. Quote, I was disappointed to see the massive spending bill, frankly, which increases the budget deficit, not just decrease it, and undermines the work that the Doge team is doing, the tech billionaire and Trump donor told CBS Sunday morning. I think a bill can be big or it can be beautiful, but I don't know if it can be both. Trump's big beautiful bill includes trillions of dollars in tax cuts and a big boost to the US military and to the national security spending, largely paid for by overhauls of federal health and nutrition programs and cuts to energy programs. The non-partisan Congressional Budget Office estimates that the bill will pile another $3.8 trillion to the deficit. It will narrowly pass the House last week and now heads to the Senate, where it will likely face many challenges. Musk's comments come amid a media tour ahead of SpaceX's test flight Tuesday evening. Musk is stepping away from full-time government work to focus on his companies, including SpaceX and Tesla, which have struggled as part of a result of Musk's alliance with the Trump administration. And he noted in an interview with Ayers Tesla on Tuesday, hours before SpaceX Starship test flight. Quote, I think it probably did spend a bit too much time on politics, he said. It's less people would think, because the media is going to be overrepresented of any political stuff, because political bones of contention and get a lot of traction in the media. He said, when asked whether he felt the focus on politics over the past years harmed SpaceX, he says, it's not like I left the companies. I was just relative time allocation was probably a little too high on the government side, and I've reduced that significantly in recent weeks. Elon Musk's rocket blew up again today. What a surprise! Thanks for that, Steve. That does not surprise me at all. Yeah, I'm just like, for me, it's the relationship seems, I wouldn't say it's broken down between Trump and Elon Musk. It's just been very quiet. It's just been really, really quiet between them. I think that's kind of the best way to describe the relationship and what's been happening there on it. Right, so let's have a look and see what some of the headlines are saying, guys. There's quite a few different ones I've got here. So Al Jazeera, which we just talked about. Israel bombs a Gaza journalist home, killing at least 8. Ties with Israel hinge on reconciliation of Palestine state. Pro-Palestinian protest forced Israeli ambassador to leave Segal University. Star Palestinian storm aid distribution area near Rafka. 1 killed in southern Sudan in an Israeli drone attack. This is all live updates, by the way. Israeli forces killed Palestinian man during an occupied West Bank raid. And we talked about that one, the heartbreak there. 10 takeaways from King Charles' speech from the throne in Canada. I do not want to discuss and talk about what King Charles did in Canada, if I'm honest. US pauses student visa processing amid plans social media vetting. We talked about that already. War of words. Russia's Medvedev rebucks Trump over Putin's social media post. She's the Queen. Sri Lanka bids farewell to film legend Mali Forniskia. SpaceX Starship test flight loses control 30 minutes after launch. US-Europe lift range restrictions on Ukraine missiles and why it matters. China hosts Pacific Island nations to bid to bolster diplomatic trade ties. Trump says Canada will pay $61 billion for Golden Dome or become the 51st state. Really? What's the Golden Dome exactly? Sorry. In a Truth post on Truth Social, Trump claimed Canada very much wants to be part of our fabulous Golden Dome system, and it would gain free access if it joins with the US. Participating in the proposed defense system, it would cost Canada $0 if they became the cherished 31st state, adding they are considering the offer. I don't think Mark Carnier is considering the offer. I'm just going to go out on a limb. What gives you that impression, Regan? Well, when they sat down together. Ah, dear, oh dear. Following the King's speech, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney told Canadian broadcaster CBC that he hopes Canada will join REARM Europe by July the 1st in an effort to reduce dependence on the US for weapons. Canada did not immediately respond to Trump's latest comments, but Kanye has previously outwardly confirmed his country has held high-level talks on defensive issues with the US. In total, Trump has claimed the Golden Dome system will cost some $175 billion and would be complete by the end of his current term in 2029. Although defense industry experts have questioned the feasibility of his lifeline and budget. Trump is hoping to secure initial £25 billion funding for the system through sweeping Big Beautiful Bill, which is set to go up to a vote of Senate after now. The bill boosts spending on the military and border enforcement while cutting funding for social programs, including Medicaid and food assistance that helps tens of millions of low-income Americans. Golden Dome for America. This is such a... I'm sorry, I have to laugh about this, guys. It's just such a waste of money. The Golden Dome is modelled after Israel's Iron Dome, which has received significant funding from the US, including $500 million per year for its upkeep. It is unclear how Trump will scale up the Iron Dome to cover the entire US, since Israel is only about the size of New Jersey, one of the smallest states in the US. The Iron Dome is also designed to sky short-range missiles with a range of 1,000 kilometers, while the main threat to the US would likely come from long-range ballistics and hypersonic missiles. Yeah, like it's a bit of a, like, I'm sorry, like you're looking at the picture there, and I'm like, it's a bit bigger. It's like we're talking, like it's a lot bigger than Israel. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. Golden Dome? Are you absolutely joking? Like, it's absolutely just have to laugh, guys. You just have to laugh at some of this stuff. You really, really do with some of the things that they come up with. Dear, oh dear. Good morning, Alex Adams. Hope you are doing well. And if anyone's wondering, no, I did not have my honey and lemon this morning. That's why I yawned. Because I have ran out of lemons. I need to get more. This from the Associated Press. We talked about this already. The US stopped scheduling visa interviews for foreign students while it expands social media vetting. United is narrowing its check-in window for US flights here compared to other airlines. Trump set to pardon reality TV star Todd and Julie Christine of fraud and tax evasion convictions. Okay. Israeli troops fire warning shots as Palestinians overwhelm new food in Gaza. No, the headline should be Israeli troops shoot in a... the headline should be... Sorry, let me rephrase this headline here. Israeli troops kill starving Palestinians as they are desperate for food. That's better. California opens track and field finals to more girls after success on transathlete. Manhunt launched for ex-police chief known as Devil in Oscars after he escaped from prison. In Japan, rare bobcow cats are considered good luck. Nakaski is filled with them. Oh, good. Russia seized Ukrainian border villages as its bombing campaign shows. King Charles III says Canada faces unprecedented dangers as Trump threatens annexation. Yeah, but he won't. The Norwegian man wakes up to find grounded cargo ship narrowly missed his home. Oh yeah, this is the story I heard about this. Authorities said the report so... Yeah.
My goodness, this is the newly released 3.0 model.
Let me mute the video, sorry. Yeah, there it is. Look, this is the story about the so apparently, look how close this ship was to this man. Oh man, this is crazy. Okay, hold on. I need to. I want to hear what he has to say. This story. I haven't seen a video on this, but it's pretty incredible. Like, yeah, to wake up and find. Hold on. I muted the desktop audio. That's why you couldn't hear it. Right. Let me listen to this. You know, Regan, it would be really helpful if you plugged your own headphones in. That would be a very good idea, instead of just assuming that you're listening to it.
Det der flaks. Eller uflaks, da, kan du si. Ja. Å få en båt oppi fjæra. Ja, det jo det. Naboen, da? Ja, da sprang jeg bort til naboen. Jeg var sikker på at han må komme ut. Men nei da, det var ikke liv der. Så da ringte han på mange ganger på døra. Nei, ingenting skjedde med samme, og da tror jeg kanskje han ikke var hjemme da. Så ringte jeg på telefonen, og da fikk jeg omsider kontakt da. Så sa at han hadde fått besøk da. Ja, så kom han opp, og da ble han noe forundret, han også.
Yeah, I'd be surprised too. I don't. Yeah, has to be. I thought it actually hit the house, so it didn't hit the house. The story I heard was actually. So the story I heard was it actually hit the house, but look how close it is. It's crazy. How does like I generally like. Obviously, I don't know the full context of how the ship ended up there, but I heard about this, and to see the ship so close to the house. Yeah, it's pretty crazy stuff. But yeah, I really wanted to see this. Yeah, authorities say they received a report that an NSL Sultan had run shortly before 6 a.m. on Thursday. No injuries or oil spills were reported. Shipping company NCL said in a statement it was aware of a police statement saying that it had one suspect. The company said it was cooperating with the investigation, so there's a suspect there apparently. But yeah, just crazy story. I had to see that, guys. I had to see that because I've been meaning to it's been on my jobs list of things I wanted to see. But yeah, that's pretty interesting. Let's see what else Associated Press are doing. Anything else? European companies cost cut, scale back investment as China's economy slows. Top youth spellers compete in the 100 Scripps National Spelling Bee. Thai and Cambodia soldiers briefly clash in the disputed border area. Search efforts continue at the site of a China's chemical plant explosion as the fate of 6 missing unknown. Successful in Syria has turned Turkey and Saudi Arabia from rivals to partners, but will it last? US Pendergrey Falcons adapts well to city living as coastal cousins struggle with bird flu. There's also I haven't seen the stories, but I know Volsh has been covering it very closely. Do keep an eye on the New York mayoral race as well, because the guy that's while Andrew Cuomo is currently the mayor and is at the moment leading in the polls, the guy that's running close to him is I can't remember the guy's name, but I've seen a few of his campaign ads, but he's very, very good. Think of AOC. Now think of AOC, right? Think of the language and the tone that she does, right? Now think of someone like her, but times 2, times 3. That's what this guy who could potentially be the next New York mayor could be. It's very interesting. I do recommend Volsh's video on him. Let's have a look at NBC News as well. Trump administration asked Supreme Court to lift limits on deportation to third countries. Trump to pardon reality TV couple convicted on federal fraud charges. Trump administration stops the new student visa interviews. Former surgeon faces 20 years in prison as France's largest child sexual abuse trial comes to an end. Joel Lascala, 74, faces up to 20 years in prison for sexually assaulting 299 victims over 3 decades. Only 20 years. He should be in prison for the rest of his life, really. 300, nearly 300 victims in over 30 years. Why has it taken this long? Sean Combs, what's that? P. Diddy, is he? Yeah, I'm not really interested in him. SpaceX blew up their own rockets again. Don't worry, someone will get the door. As US supplements are used to grow in the US, and so are rates of toxic hepatitis. Marine said tackle man accused of trying to open exit door mid-flight. Breaking burning babies, billionaire California home leaves woman in coma. Arcanis Townley edge after a former police chief and convicted killer escapes prison. Trump administration seeks to end all federal contracts with Harvard there. Republican Representative Mike Flood grilled during town hall. I'm sure that was insightful. I'm sure you enjoyed that very, very much there. So those are some from NBC News. Let's have a look at the world news from the BBC, you guys. So US halts student visa appointments. Talked about that already. Overcrowding Gaza. Talked about already. Canada, talked about already. Hopes of motherhood crushed after IVF embryos destroyed in Israel's Gaza offensive. Young actor revealed for Harry Potter TV series. Okay. Okay. I'm sure someone's going to complain because, hey, that's not a white girl. You know someone's going to complain about that. You know someone's going to complain. because people always have to stereotype. Namibia to mark colonial genocide for the first time with a Memorial Day. The genocide in what is now Namibia lasted from 1904 to 1908. Picture says it all, really. Trump to pardon reality TV couple. Diddy kidnapped ex-aide and plot to kill a Kid Cudi child hears. Australia's Liberal National Coalition reunite a week after split. Viktor Orban accused of using Ukraine spy rail in a fight for political survival. No, thank you. A space of arrest, diplomatic expulsions, and public humiliations has plunged relations between war-torn Ukraine and its prickly NATO neighbour Hungary to a new low. Well, yeah, because, Orban is on the side of Russia. Second suspect arrested in alleged crypto torture scheme as well. After decades of bloodshed, is India winning its war against Mashkinis? How political chaos helped forge South Korea's presidential front runner? Yeah, I'm very interested to see who takes over the next presidency, and will there be stability in South Korea after what happened? It really is. Things are not good right now for South Korea right now politically. Ever since that coup, the attempted coup. Things are not very good for South Korea right now. Now, laughing gas became a deadly but legal American addiction. Far-right marches attack Palestinians as Israel marks a taking of Jerusalem. And the Norway ship refloats after near miss with the house, which we looked at already. Loose pigeons cause havoc on a plane before takeoff. How on earth does a pigeon... Should I click on this? Oh my days. Is it going to show?
I went to sit down, and I overheard a passenger come up to the flight attendant who was standing right by where I was, and she said, "I think there's a pigeon on this plane."
You ready for this? There's a pigeon on the airplane.
There's a pigeon on the airplane, and it won't go away.
Not until we open the door.
That's a first for me. Wow.
Then the pilot got on and said, "Attention, ladies and gentlemen, we have a wildlife situation on the plane, and this is not something I'm prepared to deal with, so we are summoning folks to come, some crew to come on." And at that point, I pulled my phone out because I think, okay, if it's coming back, I have to try to get some footage of this. This is ridiculous. The woman next to me obviously was quite panicky about it. She said to me, she said, "Oh, I'm going to need a free wine."
Jesus. How does a pigeon... sometimes pigeons get in the weirdest of places. Mind you, though, we have seen pigeons on the London Tube. Despite the fact that they are underground, pigeons still find themselves getting into tube stations and sometimes find themselves on tube trains. So, should it surprise anyone that a pigeon is on the plane? No, it should not surprise anyone. I don't think there's anything really more to add from the BBC here. Let's see what CNN's got. Desperate Palestinians, talked about that already. John Bolton thinks this might motivate Trump to speak out against Putin. Putin may have pushed Trump into a long-delayed infinity. Trump considers new sanctions on Russia as he grows more furious with Putin. German leader has criticized Israel's conduct in Gaza. Why is that a big deal? It is a big deal. That's a very big deal from Germany. That's very interesting to hear that from Germany. Germany has just, we are dismayed by the fate of civilian population and the terrible suffering of the civilian population in Gaza, the Chancellor said on Tuesday while a visit to Turku, Finland. Ooh, that, because you know why Germany are very keen not to criticize Israel. Because of the history, obviously. That's quite significant. Trump administration cancelled federal contracts with Harvard. Yeah, we talked about that already. Brazil prosecutors sues Chinese car maker BYD for violating labor rights. Climate and weather scientists are joining the anti-Trump resilience in the most scientific way. Hawaii's Yavik volcano spews lava 100,000 feet into the air. Blimey neck, why have I got reflux already? It's only in the morning. Interesting stuff there from CNN. Right, let's see some stuff outside the US, please. Can we see some what else? Can we not talk about Trump for once? Amnesty International accuses the Democratic Republic Congo's M23 rebels of possible war crimes. Yeah, they have committed war crimes. There's literally video footage online on Twitter I've seen of them committing war crimes. Like that's not just something that is just being thrown about. That's actually happening. Like that's actually happening. South Africa denies watering down black ownership rules for Musk. Oh, Musk needs to shut up about that. North Korea outbreak in Sudan kills 172 people in a week. I'm covering that in a short video, I'm pretty sure. Chaos erupts as Palestinians pick up aid. Yep. South Africa denies watering down. Let's see anything else. Football. Senegal and Suez win UN prize for model water partnership. Nigeria scraps controversial bill making voting mandatory. We talked about that yesterday. Namibia to hold first official commemoration of the German colonial era genocide, which we talked about already there. Somali families devastated as child hunger worsens amid aid cuts. Yeah, the aid cuts from US aid has devastated not just Somali but many other countries, poor countries around the world, unfortunately. But those are some of the stories there from African news. I'm wary of the time, guys. Let's have a quick gander at the Kiev Independent. There's a couple of others I was going to look at, but I'm running short on time. Drones reportedly target Russian UAV enterprise near Moscow amid alleged Ukrainian strike. Trump patience wears fins with Russia. Delays Ukraine peace memo, CNN reports. General staff numbers there on a daily basis. This is every morning they put numbers out every morning, the general staff. Kellogg criticizes Megadov reckless threat, demands Russian peace memorandum. Russia should think less about Trump's statements and more about stopping the war, State Department says. Ukraine to ramp up arms production in a systematical response to Russia, Zelensky says. As peace efforts falter, Russia eyes major summer push for Donetsk Oblast, bracing for more Russian attacks, and anxious Ukraine waits for Trump to do something. Despite Kremlin claims, 82% of Russian-speaking Ukrainians view Russia negatively, poll shows. If Germany sends Taurus missiles to Ukraine, Russia has a major Crimean bridge problem. Yeah, destroying that bridge, would be very, very helpful. Trump admits to protecting Russia from really bad things during Ukraine's peace talks. Russia has ordered 307,900 death certificates for soldiers' families since 2022, media has reported there. So those are some of the stories from the Kiev Independent there. Let's have a look at Euro News here. New US Senate bill could wreck Russia but damage EU economy, apparently. Spanish minority language questions echoes across Europe. No, Israel isn't planning to take over a French holy site. Romanian Kaligin Grescu announces withdrawal from politics. And Turkey said it's ready to host another round of Russia-Ukraine talks there. Trump's moves to cut federal money. Trump media eyes Bitcoin reserve with $2.3 billion down investor backing. Suspect in stabbing attack in Germany festival admits killing at trial. Story from the UK. Experts praise swift release of details about Liverpool's crash suspect. Germany's DAX hits a new high as Trump upbeat on US-EU trade talks. Israeli troops fire near overwhelmed aid center in Gaza. That is from Euro News. Before we head out, let's have a quick look at the New York Times. Trump seeks Iran deal, Israel against racist possible strike on nuclear sites. That's interesting there from the New York Times. We do have some very good stories in the NYC. Zelensky heads to Berlin in the latest sign of warming relationships. Trump mulling sanctions, accuses Putin of playing with fire. Republicans call for Russia's sanctions intensify amid strikes on Ukraine. State Department halts interview for students with exchange visas. Trump attacks have helped heal a deeply divided Harvard. Doing business in China is getting harder, but exports are hard to resist. Trade crime is soaring, US firms say, as Trump's tariffs incentivize fraud. Anything else worth looking at before we wrap up here? Is there least bad alcohol? Okay. Trump pardoning tax cheats. These are universities most dependent on international students. They've even got statistics there on the right there. Interesting. How Russia's invasion of Ukraine transformed a fake war in Oklahoma as well. Eye-shifting tactics detain high school students at NYC courthouse. Trump loses third battle in a war against elite law firms there. A 20-year-old Venezuelan student appears to be the first reported instance of immigration officials apprehended a student in the city this year. We'll have to leave it there, guys, I'm afraid. There, I was going to cover one or two other stories, but there were a couple of others I wanted to look at as well. So thank you guys so much for coming along. Thank you guys for your comments. Thank you, MadMonk33, Alistair Key, and Steve McMullen for your super chats today. Much appreciated. That really does help support the channel. If you guys would like to become a YouTube member for as little as 99p, please consider doing so. I know obviously I've been away, so the membership levels have dropped, but do consider becoming a YouTube member. 99p, it doesn't sound like a lot, but that 99p a month really does help support the channel, so do consider becoming a YouTube member. Link for it is down below. Click the join button for there if you want to be a 99p member. You get access to some perks in doing so. It would be greatly appreciated if you can consider that. But I am done here. I will be back tonight at 8 p.m. for the Snowflake Watch. We'll cover all sorts of news, stuff in America, stuff in the UK. There is no Prime Minister's questions, so there is no live stream at 12 p.m. However, I do have a video dropping at 2 p.m. today, so do check that out if you can, as well as the short videos dropping. And like I did on my post this morning, do check out exclusive content dropping on Patreon and Rumble. Links for them down below. But thank you guys all for coming along. Have a wonderful day, whatever you guys are doing. Do check out the Morning Brew with Graham Hughes, which is starting now. And then do check out the paper review with Dave McGuinness on youtube.com/the2davies at 10:30 with David McGuinness. So I hope to catch you all very, very soon.